My name is David Wagstaff. I work for KRM. So we're probably very well known within the United Kingdom for fertiliser spreaders, as which we have one here. And the fertilisers spreaders we sell in the UK, we've been importing from Denmark from two companies. The first one being Bogballe, the second one being Bredal. And both companies are long-standing specialist manufacturers. So specialist manufacturers, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is all they make are fertiliser spreaders. So all of their research, effort, development, time and focus is on the one machine, so that you guys get the best from those machines. So the purpose of today's video is to show you how to set the machine and how to get the best out of your Bogballe spreader. So the first thing to mention, which I know a lot of you have probably not read the operator's manual, but this is an extremely useful document for you to be able to set your machine and get the best from it. So probably the first thing to mention is the working height of the machine, and this is documented on page 16, and you can see here, or you probably can't see it at the moment, but it's 75 centimeters, and that's from the top of the crop to the disc on the fertilizer spreader. The next point to mention is the tilt angle. So the tilt angle is also something we need to look at, and this is set for the fertilizer type, and we'll come back to that within the spread charts. So with relation to the working height of the machine, it's very important on an older M2W or this newer M35W that we have the tractor lower link arm always in the bottom pinhole on the machine. So whenever you couple your tractor to the spreader, always use the lowest pin position. Coming back to the tilt angle that we set from the spread charts, this is set with the inclinometer on the machine itself, and that's in here on the main quadrant. So you can see this moves. So if the spread chart says +4 degrees, I set it to here. If it says -2 degrees, I set it to here, and then we adjust the tractor's top link until the bubble is in the middle. The next setting we need to look at, again, the spread chart tells us which vanes to use for the different types of fertilizer we have to spread, and this also relates to the spreader's working width as well. And when we mount the vanes, it's very important that we mount the left-hand vanes on the left-hand disc and vice versa, the right-hand vanes on the right-hand disc in the correct positions. 90% of the time, the vanes will always mount one vane in position 1, the other vane on the same disc in position 2 on the disc, and we can't go wrong with that, and I'll show you why. And the vanes stamped on them tells us which type they are. So they, in this particular case, these are E6s, but again, the spread chart tells us which ones to use. And it also tells you that this is an L for left. And lo and behold, on the right hand side, they're stamped R for right. So these vanes are not made from stainless steel. The reason is stainless steel is very good at not corroding. However, stainless steel is very soft as a metal. So these vanes are made from the hardest mild steel that is possible to get, because that's what we want. It doesn't matter if the vane gets slightly rusty, as this particular one is now, because the next time you go spreading, the rust will be gone in seconds. However, where we mount the vane to the disc, the threads, the washer and the nut, these are stainless steel so that they do not corrode. So to mount the vane, as I was saying earlier, one vane, and that's this one in this particular case, is in position number 1. This second vane we shall mount in position number 2. And you can see where my little finger is, position number 2 is the only position that's openly cut. Position 1, 3 and 4 are closed, so we cannot slide the thread in. So you can't go wrong really, as long as left hand vane on left hand disc, and also the disc is stamped L for left. So again, it's very easy and we can't go wrong. So there's no need to remove the nuts. We make sure the washers are down on the nut and we drop the nuts through these large openings. We pull it into position and then we tighten the nuts. Because these are stainless steel nuts and threads, we only want to very firmly, gently tighten the nut. Centrifugal force will hold the vane in position. We tighten these only to stop the vane lifting from the disc in work. This is the spread charts book, and it tells you on the book up here the working width of the machine that this book particularly covers. So in this example we have 24 meters. When we open the book, inside we have a list of all the different fertilizer types, and I'm going to choose CF fertilizers because I'm going to use the popular Nitram as an example in this particular case. And here it's listed as 24376, and it tells me E6s, which are the vanes we fitted to the machine. And then we'll flick through the book to chart number 24-376. Now these are all in numerical order, but they often don't follow on because there are such a lot of charts and have been historically over time. And here is 24376 for Nitram. So a more modern and a lot more up-to-date way to get the information for the settings for the machine is with the Bogballe Spread Charts app. So you can download that onto your smartphone or smart device, and there's around 4,000 charts on the system. So rather than have a book for a particular width and which is out of date in a year or two's time, it's a lot better to use the Bogballe Spread Charts app. Okay, so here is our 376 chart number, as you can see, for Nitram, and it tells us E6 vanes, which we fit to the machine, in positions 1 and 2. It tells us the infield PTO speed and the headland PTO speed. And the other pieces of information we need from this chart are the tilt angle, and you can see the column with the inclinometer at the top, and the calibration figure at the very bottom left hand corner. So with regard to the tilt angle, we use the inclinometer column on the spread chart. Again, that's in the app. And we look at the application rate we're doing. So in our particular example, we're going to do 14 kilometers an hour and we're going to do 160 kilos per hectare. And we look across to the inclinometer column and it says 0 degrees tilt. So 0 degrees tilt, we move the inclinometer to 0, and then we must alter or change the tractor's top length until the spirit level button is in the middle. Shutter positions. If we're working at 24 meters, you would always use the machine in the standard shutter position, but we have other choices now as well. On these newer machines, we also have Max, and then we have Max Plus. So with Max Plus, we can go up to a class-leading 650 kilos per minute of output through the shutters. And the reason you would want that is if you're very wide width spreading at very high application rates. So with the spanner provided, you see this lug fits in the little hole here in the shutter plate, like so, and this makes it easier for us then to be able to adjust the shutter position. Then you can then go to the next hole, keep moving it round to get to max, off, min or micro. We want standard for this particular spreader for our nitro, so we move that, and you can see next to the little locking lever it says STD for standard. So when we adjust the shutter position here, it is absolutely critical that we tell the computer that controls the spreader, whether it be Isobus or a calibrator in the tractor cab, the shutter position we've set down here. So going back to our spread chart, again, all the information is on the app as well. The calibration figure in our example material for Nitram is 29.2 kilos as a calibration value. We need to enter that into the Isobus or calibrator, and it's very similar on the calibrator to the Isobus screen. So here you can see the welcome page, so we press enter, and then you can see now the calibration figure in this particular machine is currently 28.99. Any figure or any critical value that has a box around it, this is now a touch screen, so I can literally touch that, and here we can see calibration value, and I touch there, and now I can enter 29.2 for our example material, which is Nitram, and we were 160 kilos per hectare in our example, and we can also set that here as well. And then we touch the cross, and here you can see the calibration value has changed and the application rate has changed. So as long as the spread width is set correctly at 24 meters in this particular case, we're ready to go. So before we go spreading, there's two important things to do from the computer which will affect how the machine applies product. So if we go to menu, and here you can see calibration, which is option 2. So I can come down to calibration, press enter, or I can touch calibration, and you can see it's at the top, number 1, which is actuator calibration, which is what we're going to do first. So to do that, we press enter, and the machine warns you that it's going to open and close the shutters 2 times, and we press start when we're ready. So we must make sure there is no product in the hopper when we do this. So now the machine is opening its actuator, and it'll go all the way wide open and all the way back to closed, and then do it all over again a second time. So the other important thing we can do is calibrate the load cell. And you can see number 2 is load cell calibration. So we come down to load cell calibration. It brings up the awful Isobus warning. But here you can see there's a choice. And what we would normally do is use a 0 point setting, which is number 2 in the options. And to do this, the hopper must be level and must be empty, as the warning says, and we press enter to confirm. And then we press X to return to the previous menu. And then when we come out of here and back to the working screen, you can see the hopper weight is now at 0. So maintenance is very important with a fertiliser spreader, that we clean the machine as well as we can ever clean a machine. It's also superbly brilliant to spray your machine with hydraulic oil before you use the spreader, because the fertiliser residue will then stick to a layer of oil and not the paintwork on the machine. And so not only does it protect the paintwork, it makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker for you to wash the machine down when you finish spreading. So with washing down, the new M series machines all have the easy clean system, and that starts with the guardrail, and then we also have the flick down light boards, and behind the light board you can see a wash port here. This wash port has 2 curved pieces of plastic to direct the water from your pressure washer, steam cleaner, whatever, down the inside of this piece of chassis rail, and vice versa this side. You can see there's also an opening here for you to wash down the inside here, and also in the middle of the machine at that hard to reach area at the back of the chassis, there's another wash port here to direct the jet of water down and also upwards. The last part of the easy clean system is the removable mud flap. So we loosen the thumb screw and then we literally pull the mud flap from the machine, which allows you to wash in that awkward area behind the mud flap on the front of the machine. So greasing the machine, there are very few grease nipples on the spreader. There's 2 inside the hopper on the agitators, which we will talk about shortly. But other than that, the PTO shaft. Please do not neglect your PTO shaft. The biggest thing with a fertiliser spreader is making sure the telescoping of the PTO shaft is as it should be, is clean, is greased, and as silky smooth as possible. There's no real load on the PTO shaft driving the gearbox and the discs, so the greasing of the universal joints is neither here nor there really, but follow the operator's manual to the hours for greasing interval on those. And as I say, the only other grease nipples are in the hopper, and we'll show you those. So the agitator requires a huge amount of grease, a half a pump once per year, no more. And we can see that in the bottom of the hopper here. That really wraps up a quick guide to the settings of the machine. So you can use bogballe.com or KRM and websites to go to documentation, and please do read the books that came with your machine. As I say, spread charts you can download as an app on your smartphone, and the operator's manual, please do read these to get the very best out of your machine.